Revealed, 3 heartwarming months of planning for a dream wedding shattered by an unexpected kiss. Samantha Thompson felt as if she was living within a fairy tale. The sun-soaked streets of Maplewood buzzed with excitement as she and her ruggedly handsome fiancé, Jake, plotted every detail of their upcoming wedding. Fresh-cut grass danced in the breeze, and the sweet aroma of homemade pies wafted through the air, a backdrop to their dreams and laughter shared with family. Their love story had blossomed over countless romantic dinners and weekend drives, giving her that buoyant feeling of hope. Together, they framed the life they wanted, intertwining every laugh and loving glance with visions of their future, but everything changed at the community picnic. The vibrant colors of the bounce houses filled the park as kids squealed in delight, but an unexpected kiss turned her life upside down. Tyler, new to the small town and enigmatic in nature, leaned in with a brooding charm she hadn't known she craved. The kiss was electric, leaving her breathless and her heart racing. Gasps echoed around them, shattering the dream world she'd so carefully constructed. Whispers filled the air, glancing at Jake, who stood frozen in shock. In that one fleeting moment, Samantha felt as if the ground beneath her shifted, spiraling her perfect life into chaos. In the days that followed, the once vibrant threads of her life began to fray. Every smile at school felt forced, every pie baked during family gatherings tasted bittersweet. Jake, his work-worn hands always reaching for hers, sensed her distance, but the intimacy they shared began to feel overlaid with confusion. Each time he gently brushed a strand of hair behind her ear, all she could remember was that kiss, its heat and its tenderness. Was she betraying Jake? Or was this an invitation to explore deeper feelings with Tyler? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As tensions swirled, the town, once unified by their shared support of Samantha and Jake, began to fracture. Friends eyed each other suspiciously, families voiced unresolved prejudices, revealing their biases over class and relationships. Bake sales turned into battlegrounds of whispered judgments, and the wedding planning that once brought joy now felt like a heavy weight dragging her down. Amidst the emotional fallout, an explosive confrontation erupted between the families, exposing years of unresolved issues. It was the perfect storm of chaos and confusion, each voice clashing with desperation. Love should come naturally. One relative shouted, while another firmly declared, it's about loyalty. It felt as though the very fabric of their community depended on her next move. Samantha, wide-eyed and shaken, recognized the crossroads in front of her. Should she forgive Tyler for his impulsiveness and confront the confused stirrings within her? Or would loyalty and the support of a devoted fiancé lead her back to the life she thought she wanted? With a heavy heart, she stepped into the local diner, where the sweet and salty bustle of life continued without her. The door swung open, revealing familiar faces, eager to witness the next chapter. With the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her, she inhaled deeply, knowing that whatever came next could either heal them all or tear them apart. Would she find the courage to face her truth, or would she let love slip away into the unknown? The diner's bell jingled above the door, a cheerful sound that felt out of place for Samantha. It was loud, almost glaring against her swirling thoughts. Familiar faces turned toward her, mixing curiosity with concern. She plastered on a smile, but inside, she felt like a fragile vase on the edge of a crowded table, ready to shatter at any moment. Jake was already at a booth, his back turned to her. He looked so engrossed in his phone that it was as if he could distract himself from the chaos that had suddenly become their lives. Taking a deep breath, she stepped closer, the aroma of pancakes and coffee wrapping around her like an old memory. As she slid into the booth across from him, he glanced up, his eyes brightening for just an instant before dimming again with uncertainty. "Samantha," he began, hesitating. I saw you at the picnic that, kiss. The words hung in the air, heavy and sharp. She felt as if the booth was closing in on her, trapping her in this moment. Her heart pounded, transforming the comforting sounds of the diner into muffled echoes in her ears. Jake, No, let me talk, he interrupted gently, studying her face. It was unexpected. But I want to know what you're thinking. Am I losing you? His voice cracked, revealing a vulnerability that dug into her chest. She could only swallow. Could she share her chaotic feelings? Each time she thought about Tyler, a mix of excitement and guilt washed over her. But was it excitement she wanted, or was it just the rush of something new? It's complicated, she finally managed, her voice barely above a whisper. Judging from the hurt in his eyes, she wished she could take those words back. A third of their lives together was built on open hearts and trust, and now here she was, tangled in her own confusion. Could she betray their love? Before she could respond further, Tyler walked in. The world seemed to shift with his entrance. He was a striking figure, drawing eyes wherever he went, and Samantha felt the pull of the room shift in his direction. They made eye contact, and her heart raced, an echo of the kiss sparking in her memory. Mind if I join you? He asked with an easy smile that felt like a sunbeam breaking through her cloudy thoughts. No. Jake shouted, a surprising edge in his voice. Caught off guard, Samantha felt tension spike around the table. Jake, it's fine, she insisted, her hands pressed flat against the table, searching for stability. He's just a friend. Is that what you want? Jake shot back, unexpected anger igniting the air between them. To keep him around? Tyler raised an eyebrow, an assessing look on his face, but he stepped back and took the offered silence. The moment stretched painfully. Jake's fists clenched, clearly torn between anger and fear of losing her. Next to him, Samantha battled her own emotions, her heart racing with confusion. Everyone in the diner now seemed to hold their breath, waiting for her next move. She could feel the walls closing in, all eyes boring into her. It was a question of loyalty, but what about the truth? What did she truly want? Maybe we all need to talk, she said finally, her voice steadier now. We can't keep pretending that this doesn't exist. As the tension hung heavily in the air, she realized that the truth was going to expose more than just her feelings. It could crack open lifelong friendships and family bonds. Samantha glanced at both men, each representing a different path. Her pulse quickened. Could she really face the truth when the cost felt so high? With everything hanging in the balance, she knew the next words she said would change everything. Let us meet tomorrow. Just the three of us. The hush fell over the diner as the weight of her words settled. What had she just done? Now more than ever, she needed clarity. But would they find answers or unleash unforeseen chaos? Samantha sat in the booth, the world around her blurring into a haze. Jake's expression twisted into a storm, and Tyler's casual demeanor now felt like an intrusion. She suddenly realized the gravity of her suggestion. The diner was alive with chatter and clinking dishes, yet at their table, it was a paradox of silence. What do you think you're doing, Sam? Jake's voice trembled. Anguish resonated in his tone, shattering her already fragile resolve. You want to get together to discuss what? You kissed him. That's not something we talk about over coffee. Samantha's heart ached. She could see the fear etched in the lines of his face, fear of loss, of betrayal. It cut deeper than she'd ever anticipated. I'm just trying to sort everything out, she replied, her voice cracking. Sort what out? Jake's words came out with a sharp edge, like glass against her skin. The weight of Tyler's gaze bore down on her, and for a moment, it felt like they were in a different bubble, one where decisions felt light, conversations flowed easily, and no past decisions loomed over them. But here, with Jake, everything felt heavy. Please, Tyler interjected, his tone smooth yet firm. Let us not turn this into a fight. Samantha looked between the two men, each representative of different paths her life could take. One path felt safe and familiar, a life built on shared memories and plans. The other was exhilarating but fraught with uncertainty, like standing at the edge of a cliff. "Maybe a meeting will help us sort this out," Tyler continued, his expression earnest. "I didn't mean to complicate anything between you two." "You didn't mean to?" Jake interjected, his anger bubbling. "But you kissed her. How's that not complicating things?" Samantha's chest tightened, she felt suffocated by the tension but uncertain about how to resolve it. "I want to be honest about my feelings," she said slowly, "so we can all move forward without falling apart." Jake's frustration faltered at the clarity of her words, but vulnerability flickered beneath his steely resolve. "What if what you find, Samantha, is that you don't want me?" His voice softened at the end, revealing a crack of fear beneath his indignation. Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes. "I don't want to lose you. I need clarity." "We all do," she murmured, surprised by the surge of emotion that swept through her. "And I can't keep pretending this doesn't matter." The din around them started to come back into focus, muffled conversations about breakfast specials and laughter from a nearby table. But in their booth, the three were worlds apart, suspended in a moment thick with tension. "All I ask is that you think about this honestly. For both of us," she pleaded, looking at Jake. "For you, for me, and for whatever this is with Tyler." Jake's expression softened slightly, his vulnerability peeking through. "So tomorrow, we're really going to talk?" "Yes." Her voice was steady, laced with determination. "Tomorrow, we'll face the truth together even if it's painful." Tyler nodded, but there was a flicker of something dark behind his eyes, an unspoken question lingering above their impending meeting. Samantha stared into the distance, feeling the weight of the moment settling like a stone in her stomach. She knew tomorrow would change everything. But would anyone be ready for the truth? Would she be? As she sat in the booth, surrounded by the buzz of the diner, the question burned brighter in her mind: what would happen when they finally revealed their hearts? Samantha barely slept that night. Each tick of the clock echoed in her mind, amplifying her anxiety. The weight of the conversations unfolded over and over, like a film reel stuck on replay. What had started as a simple moment of warmth had spiraled into something unthinkable, a storm brewing just beneath the surface. Morning arrived reluctantly, sunlight seeping through the curtains. Samantha pushed herself out of bed, the sheets tangled around her like the chaos in her heart. She stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror, hoping to find her sense of clarity there. Instead, all she could see were shadows of doubt etched into her expression. As she prepared for the day, the idea of meeting Jake and Tyler felt monumental, like standing on the edge of a precipice, unsure whether to leap or pull back. The familiar routine of brushing her hair, splashing water on her face, felt surreal. Would they really talk? Would the conversation change everything? The diner had a different energy in the morning. The clatter of dishes and the aroma of fresh coffee drifted through the air, but it only added to her unease as she slid into her usual booth. Each passing minute felt like a countdown, and she fiddled with her phone, her heart racing at the thought of the impending confrontation. When Jake arrived, his expression was one of guarded hope. He gave her a small nod, his eyes betraying a whirlwind of emotions. Tyler followed closely behind. His ever-casual demeanor brought an unexpected sense of calm that didn't sit well with her. They settled into the booth, and for a moment, when their eyes met, she felt a flicker of connection, a powerful reminder of what they were all facing. "I didn't think you'd come," Jake finally said, the tension breaking like a fragile crystal. "I had to," Samantha replied softly, glancing at Tyler before looking back at Jake. "If we don't address this now, we could lose everything." Tyler took a deep breath, leaning forward. "Look, I messed up. I crossed a line. But they were just feelings, complicated feelings." He dared to meet her gaze, his expression earnest. "I didn't want to come between you two. I never meant for this to happen." "I know it was one kiss," Jake said, his voice thick as he struggled to maintain his composure. But it felt like a betrayal, Sam. You know how much I care about you. This isn't easy for me. The warmth of the diner faded away as their words navigated the choppy waters of emotions. Samantha felt tears threaten to spill once more, the sheer weight of the situation crashing down around her. I care about both of you, she breathed, throat tightening. I don't want to hurt you, Jake. But Tyler's presence has stirred something inside me that I can't ignore. What do you mean, something? Jake asked, his hands tightening on the table. What exactly do you feel for him? Samantha hesitated, the chaos stirring in her chest. It's terrifying, Jake. With you, I feel safe, like I know where we're going. With Tyler, it's exhilarating but so unknown. I can't deny that. Silence fell thick in the booth. It hung there, a cavernous void filled with fear and anticipation. She glanced between the two men, realizing she had opened a door that couldn't easily be shut. Why can't we talk about both? Tyler suggested quietly, his gaze softening. Maybe we can find a way to work through this together. Together? Jake echoed, disbelief mingling with desperation. You think that's even possible? I don't know. Samantha's heart raced as her words fell heavy in the air, each syllable trembling with the weight of reality. But we can't keep living in this limbo. We have to try or risk losing everything that we've built. The moment sat on a knife's edge, their collective breaths held tight. In that moment, surrounded by the buzz of the diner, it felt like they were alone in the universe, grappling with what was at stake. Tomorrow's breakfast felt like an inevitable reckoning, but today, they had a choice to make. Would they break apart or weave something new together? As she locked eyes with Jake and then Tyler, another question hung heavily in the air: could they ever truly reconcile their complicated feelings, or was this the beginning of an unraveling? The diner hummed around them, but inside the booth, the world had narrowed to just three hearts racing in tangled rhythm. Samantha stared at the laminated menu in front of her, the words swimming as she tried to find something to anchor herself. Jake's expression was a storm, the hurt in his eyes clashing with the flickering sparks of hope. Tyler leaned back, arms crossed, but his gaze was steady, urging. I get that this is complicated, Jake said, his voice shaking slightly. But how do we move forward when everything feels so broken? Maybe it starts with honesty, Samantha said, her own voice surprisingly steady. Maybe we need to be honest about where we stand, and what we want. She glanced timidly at Tyler, who nodded encouragingly. I want to be here for both of you, Tyler said, the gravity of his words hanging in the air. But I can't pretend that this isn't weighing on me. It felt wrong to hide what I felt. Hide? Jake's brows furrowed, a hint of anger creeping into his tone. It was more than hiding, Tyler. You acted on feelings without even considering how it might affect us. It was a mistake, Tyler replied quickly. But Sam, he turned to her with intensity, you're the one who's caught in the middle. We need to get to the heart of it. The truth hit Samantha hard. They were both right. She had been squished in the weight of their expectations while ignoring her own heart's chaotic signals. I don't want to choose, she said finally, her voice softer than the clinks of silverware around them. But I can't keep galloping on this emotional merry-go-round. Jake sighed, the tension draining just a little. We keep saying we want to fix things, but it just keeps getting messy. What if fixing means breaking a few rules? Tyler interjected. What if we openly explore where we fit into each other's lives? No more secrets. Just honesty. Samantha felt a rush of warmth. You mean like a sort of agreement? Where we all just lay it out? Yes. Tyler's response was instant. No pretending. No judging. Just feelings, Jake muttered, mind racing. This is about real feelings, and it's a risk. His gaze was searching. But it sounds like a better option than muffling everything and hoping it disappears. Samantha felt her heart leap and then flutter nervously. It could work, guys. It's definitely a better alternative than losing each other. Jake scrubbed a hand over his face, vulnerable. I'm scared, he admitted, looking at them both. What if we end up ruining everything? Then we face it together, Tyler said, voice firm. We can't pretend feelings don't exist. We have to learn to navigate them, or we're going to lose everything that matters. Those words hung in the air, threading their way into the turmoil that had been growing for months. Could they really figure out how to embrace this chaos? Samantha's thoughts raced, imagining the years they'd built together, the laughter, the shared dreams, all intertwined with the unfamiliar tension now stretching between them. What if we just start slow? She suggested, the idea forming like sunshine breaking through clouds. Like, we can explore it. No pressure, just conversations. I can do that, Tyler said quickly, hope lighting his features. And I can try, Jake replied, although his voice trembled slightly. But it'll be hard, you know? There's a lot at stake. Samantha reached across the table, taking Jake's hand in hers, feeling the pulse of their connection. We'll face it together. We've survived challenges before. She then shifted her gaze to Tyler, extending her other hand. No matter what this looks like, I want you both in my life. Let us just try to understand. As their hands met three together in that messy booth, a feeling of unity swirled in the air. It was fragile, but it was there, a flicker of hope igniting amidst chaos, but as Samantha pulled back, uncertainty pooled in her gut again. What conversations lay ahead? Would they be able to navigate the storm still brewing or just become engulfed by it? Tomorrow was looming, filled with the weight of shared feelings that felt both like an adventure and a potential disaster. She couldn't shake the question lingering in her mind, would they emerge stronger, or would another unexpected twist shatter everything again? The next day dawned brighter than Samantha expected, but the sunshine felt hollow. As she drove to work, her mind swirled with anticipation mixed with dread. The conversations from the diner echoed in her thoughts, and every intersection felt like a fork in the road of her relationships. She parked her car and stepped into the office. The usual clamor of her coworkers faded against the backdrop of her internal chaos. No matter how hard she tried to focus, her mind drifted back to the booth, to the warmth of their hands, and the weight of unsaid words hanging between them. Lunchtime came quickly, and she found herself sitting alone at her desk, poking at a sad sandwich instead of devouring it. The thought of how her world had shifted in a matter of hours hung over her like a storm cloud. What if they actually followed through on this plan to open up? It could either bring them closer or tear everything apart. Her heart raced at the possibilities. Tyler's words played through her mind, no more secrets. Just honesty. The idea was both intoxicating and terrifying. How can you navigate love and heartbreak without a map? Suddenly, her phone pinged. A group message from Tyler and Jake lit up her screen, their familiar names providing a flicker of comfort amidst her confusion. Hey, can we meet after work? Tyler had written. I think we need to tackle this sooner rather than later. Samantha felt her pulse quicken. Coming together so soon? Did they have enough time to process everything? She quickly typed back, yes, I'm in. Where? Let's South go to that park by the coffee shop. It feels more open, and we can talk without distractions. Jake's response made her heart beat faster. As the workday stretched on, she wrestled with the knot in her stomach. She wanted to feel bold, brave enough to uncover the truth within their triad, but each thought brought waves of uncertainty. When the clock finally struck 5, the rush to the park felt electric. The late afternoon sun bathed everything in gold, but it couldn't shake the chill of anxiety that crawled up her spine. What if they uncovered feelings that should have remained buried? As she approached the park, she spotted Tyler sitting on a bench, twisting his hands nervously. Jake was pacing nearby, his brows knit together, deep in thought. The sight made her heart ache with both love and apprehension. "Hey," she said softly, taking a seat next to Tyler. "You both made it." "Of course," Tyler replied, his voice steady though his eyes betrayed his tension. "We need to talk about what we really want." Jake stopped pacing and took a deep breath. We've brought the conversation outside of the diner. Now it's time to lay it all out, right? Samantha felt a rush of adrenaline. Right. No more playing it safe. Something shifted in the air as they each shared their thoughts, fears, and hopes. As each revelation poured out, layers of the turmoil peeled away. The park felt alive around them, and she could almost believe that everything might just work out, but then came the moment they'd all been holding back from. As they spoke, Tyler suddenly looked at Samantha with a clarity that sent shivers through her. "Sam, I can't pretend I haven't held deeper feelings for you from the start." Samantha's heart plunged, caught in a mixture of excitement and fear. This was the moment she'd both craved and dreaded. Then Jake, still processing Tyler's admission, looked at her as if he were pleading for some sign. "What about me, Sam? Where do I stand in all of this?" At that moment, the park felt both too small and vast a world where she had to pick a direction. What if this conversation unlocked something brighter? What if it also opened doors to heartache she wasn't ready for? Samantha took a deep breath, her voice trembling as she prepared to respond. What she was about to say would reshape everything. But before she could, a sudden noise interrupted the screeching of children playing, laughter echoing all around. In the chaos, her thoughts tangled. Would it be worth it to take the leap? She hesitated, and in that pause, a question loomed large. Would her next words bring unity or division to the fragile triangle they'd begun to explore? The answers hung in the air, awaiting her voice. Samantha felt the laughter of the children slice through her thoughts like a dagger, momentarily distracting her from the weight of the moment. She glanced toward the swings, where two little girls were giggling, their joy a stark contrast to the tension bubbling at the bench. Her heart raced, battling the mix of exhilaration and dread. "Sam?" Tyler's voice cut gently into her reverie, pulling her back to the urgency surrounding them. His gaze was piercing, and she could see the hope mingled with fear in his eyes. She stammered, her pulse quickening. This was at the moment to either step forward into the unknown or retreat into the safety of silence. "Maybe we should take a moment," Jake suggested, his tone soothing yet firm. He placed a hand on her shoulder, grounding her, but there was a crack in his assurance. "There's no rush." At that moment, the sun dipped lower, casting a golden hue across the park. The backdrop of laughter faded into the warmth of the evening light, a reminder of the happiness that still existed around them, and yet here they were, caught in a storm of emotions. "I know this isn't easy," Tyler said, pulling her attention back. "But we're not going to find clarity if we hold back." Samantha took a deep breath, her heart pounding against her chest. "No more hiding, right? Just honesty?" The words slipped out, almost a mantra she had to repeat to summon the courage inside her. "Yes," Jake urged, leaning closer. "We need to be raw with each other. All the feelings, good and bad." Suddenly, they were all exposed under the fading light. Samantha felt as if she stood at the edge of a cliff, ready to plunge into a deep, dark sea. "Okay, I'll go first," she said, her voice wavered with the weight of truth. "Tyler, you've always been special to me. From the moment we met." Her gaze shifted to Jake, brave in its honesty. "But so have you. I guess I've tried to avoid the reality that I care for both of you. It scares me because I don't want to hurt anyone." Silence enveloped them, thick and heavy. She could swear she felt the world stop, the laughter of the children faded into the background. Tyler's expression shifted, confusion melted into understanding. Jake kept watching her, his eyes like a beacon of hope. "Wow," Tyler finally said, his voice soft yet powerful. That's brave." Samantha held her breath, unsure of what would come next. So, where does that leave us? She whispered, the vulnerability of her question hanging like mist in the evening air. Jake exchanged glances with Tyler, the unspoken bond between them even more evident. "We're in this together," Jake declared, his tone resolute. "But if we're going to make this work, we need an agreement. It has to be all or nothing, a real commitment to each other." A lump formed in Samantha's throat. An agreement? Exactly. No half-truths. No sneaking around, Tyler clarified, his gaze piercing into hers. "If we're doing this, then we're all in. We honor every part of this, our feelings, our fears." Her heart raced at the intensity of their words. They were building something raw and beautiful, but could she truly handle the weight of it? "Can I ask you both something?" she began, hesitating as their eyes locked on her. "What if one day one of us feels differently? What then?" The question loomed over them like a storm cloud, an uncertainty that threatened to unravel everything they'd begun to weave together. Tyler took a deep breath, looking sincere. "Then we'll promise to talk it through. Together." Samantha nodded slowly, her heart aching but softened by the weight of their honesty. This was new territory, scary and thrilling. They were committing not just to each other, but to a truth that had been evaded for too long. But the clarity only brought more questions. As they moved forward into the sunset, an unspoken tension lingered. Would their bond withstand the test of time, or would it fray under pressure? As night began to blanket the park, they knew they had only scratched the surface. What other secrets waited in the shadows, ready to unveil themselves in this fragile dance of feelings? The evening air grew cooler, wrapping around them like a soft blanket as uncertainty settled over the trio. Samantha could feel the tension reverberating through her veins. It was both exhilarating and terrifying. She took a step back, breaking the intense gaze shared between Tyler and Jake. "What do we do now?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Maybe we should take things slowly," Tyler suggested, the hopefulness in his tone still imbued with a hint of caution. "We've just admitted our feelings. Let us not rush things." "Yeah, that makes sense," Jake replied, running a hand through his hair. "We need to figure out how this works. It's not just about us anymore, we're building something. Together." Samantha felt her heart flutter at the idea. Together. For some reason, it felt both like a soothing balm and a looming storm. "So, where do we start?" she asked, looking from one boy to the other, searching for reassurance. "Why not start with a date?" Tyler suggested, his eyes lighting up. "I mean, a real date. Just the three of us. We can take our time to get comfortable with these new feelings." Samantha smiled tentatively, warming to the idea. "That could be fun. But what do we do? Go to a movie? Dinner? Why don't we have a picnic?" Jake chimed in, his enthusiasm infectious. "We could grab some food, find a spot in the park, and just talk. No pressure." It was simple, yet so inviting. "A picnic sounds perfect," she agreed, relieved at the prospect of an environment where they could ease into this new dynamic. "We'll make a whole event out of it," Tyler added, his energy filling the space. "I can bring my guitar, and we can just hang out and enjoy each other's company." Samantha chuckled softly. "Are you going to serenade us?" "Only if you promise to sing along," he winked, making her giggle. As they wandered back towards their cars, the weight of the moment began to lift. Despite lingering hesitation, there was excitement bubbling beneath the surface, a spark of hope that this connection could grow into something beautiful. But as they reached the parking lot, a sudden rush of air disrupted the warm atmosphere. A couple of kids zoomed past on bicycles, laughter ringing out, wild and infectious. And then she caught sight of Sam's phone screen lighting up. An unexpected notification was flashing across it. "Hang on a second," she said, checking her phone. There it was, a message from Sarah, her childhood friend. She's inviting everyone to a big gathering next weekend, Samantha revealed, her brows knitting together in thought. Isn't that the anniversary party for her parents? Jake asked, and she nodded, remembering how lavishly Sarah had planned it. What if it wouldn't hurt to go, right? Tyler suggested, eyes gleaming with mischief. A double date at a party with everyone there sounds like a blast. Yeah, a chance to see how this feels with some distractions around us, Jake added, the wheels turning in his head. Samantha's heart raced at the idea. It felt risky putting their new bond on display, but perhaps it was necessary. Okay, let us do it. But just one condition, she said, her fingers fidgeting nervously. No matter what happens, we're honest with each other. About everything. Deal. They both chimed, their excitement palpable. As she drove home, Samantha couldn't shake the butterflies in her stomach, the exhilaration mingling with apprehension. They were forging a path filled with uncertainties, but also countless possibilities. Would they really be able to navigate this new relationship? And as thoughts swirled in her mind, one question loomed larger than the rest: what could happen when they faced the world together? The night sky spread out above her, stars twinkling like the myriad of feelings she had tangled within her heart. What secrets of the past would come back to haunt their future? The hope felt intoxicating, yet with it came a desire to protect what had just begun. She could only wonder as she turned down the street, but little did she know that fate had its own plans. Samantha woke with the sun pouring through her window, illuminating her room and wrapping her in a golden hue. Today was the day of the party. She could hardly breathe at the thought, excitement tinged with nerves buzzing inside her like electric currents. A picnic date had been one thing, but a gathering packed with friends was an entirely different endeavor. Standing in her closet, she rummaged through clothes until she found a light sundress that seemed to shimmer with promise. It was comfortable yet cute, just right for an afternoon in the park. She slipped it on, feeling a spark of confidence. As she applied a bit of lip gloss, she caught her reflection in the mirror. "You've got this," she whispered to herself, summoning the courage she hoped was bubbling just beneath the surface. When she arrived at the park, the vibrant chirping of birds greeted her like a warm embrace. The trees, swaying gently in the breeze, stood like silent witnesses to what was about to unfold. As she walked towards the designated picnic area, her heart raced. Jake was laying out the blanket, his smile wide and inviting. He wore a casual shirt that accentuated his playful demeanor, and she couldn't help but smile back. Beside him stood Tyler, strumming his guitar and humming a tuneless melody that seemed to mix perfectly with the sounds of the park. "Hey, you look amazing!" Jake exclaimed, his eyes sparkling. "Yeah, really brings out your glow," Tyler added, flashing a sincere grin as he looked up from his guitar. "Thanks, guys," she replied shyly, her cheeks coloring a deep pink. They spent the afternoon sharing laughter and stories, the atmosphere charged with a mix of friendship and budding romance. They munched on sandwiches and fruit, washed down with cold sodas. Tyler played soft tunes in the background, creating a cozy ambience, while Jake threw playful questions and quips, making Samantha feel at ease. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, painting everything in shades of orange and pink, Samantha felt a comfortable warmth settle around them. They were side by side, the kind of closeness that felt natural and safe. "Let us take a picture," Jake suggested suddenly, hopping up from the blanket. "We should document this awesome day." They gathered close, arms draped around each other, laughing as each of them posed dramatically. With every click of the camera, their connection solidified, and Samantha marveled at how easily they fit together, but just then, Sarah's voice broke through the cozy cocoon of their little world. "There you guys are." She approached with a group of friends, her eyes alight with excitement. "The party's starting soon. Come on." Samantha's heart skipped a beat. The thought of heading to the party, surrounded by so many people, was both thrilling and intimidating. "We should stay together," Tyler whispered to her as they walked towards the gathering. "Absolutely," Jake said, giving her hand a reassuring squeeze. The party buzzed with energy, the laughter and chatter dancing in the air. But as they mingled, Samantha felt a nagging feeling in her gut. Everyone was looking at them with knowing glances. Was it just her imagination, or did people question their unusual trio? And then, in the middle of the chaos, she spotted an old friend, Jason, her high school crush. Her heart began to race, a strange mix of nostalgia and anxiety washing over her. He spotted her too, his expression a mix of surprise and intrigue. Tyler and Jake were chatting with someone nearby, leaving her that razor-thin sliver of space where her past might collide with her present. As Jason approached with that familiar grin, memories rushed back. "Hey, Samantha. Long time no see ya, it's been a while." She smiled, but inside, uncertainty lurked. She could feel Tyler's and Jake's eyes on them, waiting, unsure. "Why don't we catch up later? Just the two of us?" Jason suggested, his gaze intent. Samantha stiffened, the weight of this unexpected invitation hanging heavy in the air. She could feel the tension rising, a new storm brewing that threatened to unravel everything she was beginning to build with Tyler and Jake. And as she looked back at them, questions swirled in her mind. Would she follow the path of old feelings or tread the new waters of something brighter, but so uncertain? In that moment, clarity didn't come. Instead, the weight of choice loomed larger than ever. All she knew for sure was that the choice she made at that moment could change everything. Samantha stood there, caught in a whirlwind of emotions. Era after era seemed to collapse as she faced Jason, her old crush, and felt the gaze of Tyler and Jake burning into her. It was a familiar world pulling her back, but everything had shifted. Was she ready to step back into the old, or could she embrace the new? "Hey Sam, are you with anyone?" Jason asked, tilting his head inquisitively. The innocent question pricked at her heart. It felt harmless, yet it stung. She had spent so long figuring out how she felt about Tyler and Jake, and now the past nudged her with its undeniable allure. "I am kind of," she said hesitantly, glancing over her shoulder at the two waiting with growing impatience. They looked like they were attempting to gauge her response, and that just made her feel more anxious. "I mean, I'm really figuring things out." "Figuring out what?" Jason pressed, his voice warm but curious, as if peeling back layers he had known. Samantha felt a heat rising in her cheeks. "You'd understand if you knew everything that happened," she thought, but couldn't say. "That's all part of life, right?" he said playfully, leaning closer. She felt the warmth of his presence, amplifying her uncertainty. The laughter and chatter of the party faded into a dull roar. Suddenly, Jason looked past her, and his eyes flared with recognition. "Oh hey! Tyler and Jake." She turned to see Jake sending her an expectant look, his brows knitted together, but also, a trace of understanding flickering there. Tyler's body language mirrored Jake's, mixing curiosity with a dash of protective instinct. "Are you coming or what?" Tyler's voice interjected from the distance, strong and comforting. Yes. I'll be there in a second." She responded, forcing a smile as she turned back to Jason. There was a tendency to want that familiarity again, to linger there just a moment longer, but every lingering pulse was a reminder of her new connection with the others. Jason smiled, offering her an endearing nod. "Okay, catch you later, Sam." As she stepped away, a heavy weight pressed against her chest. Could she actually follow through with this and address the encroaching feelings now boiling over? Samantha joined Tyler and Jake, their gazes flaring with concern. "Everything okay?" Jake asked, low and firm. "I'm fine. Just old memories," she replied, her heart racing. This was at the moment to face the truth. She could no longer dance between worlds. She needed to take a stand. "Guys, I need to tell you something," she started, her voice steadying as she looked them both in the eye. "This is confusing for all of us. There's history with Jason, and I thought maybe." "Maybe what?" Tyler interjected, his tone gentle but firmer than before. "We can't just brush everything under the rug." Samantha took a deep breath, glancing around at the party swirling around them, so many faces, little judgment, but a reminder of her choice. "You're right. I've been juggling feelings for too long, and it's not fair. I still have feelings for Jason. It's just that I also care for you too." Haven't had a chance to process everything and we're figuring this out together, Jake interjected, the fear in his voice unmistakable. "But Sam, it's about what you want, and I want you to choose us." "Choose?" The word clouded her thoughts with nostalgia and possibility. Samantha looked between them, then to the vibrant party unfolding around her. "It isn't about one or the other. It's about exploring this without losing what's right in front of me." The tension settled over them like fog, shadows dancing in front of their hearts as they processed her words. Would they support her? Did they understand her struggle? "Maybe we need to set some guidelines," Tyler proposed, his brow furrowed in thought. "Open conversations and not shying away from complications even if it might hurt." "Absolutely. If we're going to tackle this, honesty is key," Jake added, reassurance dancing in his eyes. Samantha smiled softly, feeling the difficult burden lighten. Together, they could weave through these complicated feelings. "That's exactly what I need. I don't want this to end in heartbreak." "Neither do I," Jake said quietly, absorbing that sentiment. The trio looked at one another, an unspoken commitment blooming between them like flowers in spring. As the sun began to set, enveloping the park in a golden warmth, a sense of hope ignited within her. They were still figuring things out, but clarity marched closer with each word spoken. With hands clasped tightly together, Jake holding onto her right and Tyler enclosing her left, they stepped forward, launching into the party filled with laughter, trepidation, and an exhilarating sense of renewal. The future was unknown, but together, they would face it. The sounds of laughter echoed behind them as they navigated the crowd, the complexities of their relationship unraveled like threads in a tapestry. No matter what came next, together felt right. And as Samantha opened herself to whatever life had in store, she began to believe in their bond, a bond anchored in honesty, excitement, and endless possibilities. The world around them sparked with charming unpredictability, and every next step felt like an invitation. Together, they were ready to face whatever came next, and Samantha knew in her heart that this was just the beginning. If you love this story, you need to subscribe now for more exclusive tales that touch the heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. We want to hear from you. Comment below your thoughts about this heartwarming conclusion. And don't wait not even one more second, share this video with at least 5 friends who also need to witness this transformative journey. Your support is absolutely vital, and only true fans understand how much these small actions mean.